In this video, you're going to create a table. This is a rough idea of what that table will look like. It's not going to include everything, but a good part of it. So let me just kind of mark off what will not be included. So we're not going to put this portion in, but we are going to incorporate the 3 columns. Keep in mind, columns go up and down, and rows go left to right. Right, so there's these 10 rows plus the heading. That's 11 rows. So that's 11 rows. I'm sorry, those were columns. So I'll just write it here. So there's 11 rows, right? They go left to right, and there are 3 columns. There's 3 columns. So if I kind of roughly draw out the lines, here are the columns. This is column 1, column 2, and column 3. So the columns go up and down. And then, of course, there's the 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth, all the way down to 11. And this is a special row because it's going to be a heading. All right. So the entire structure is a table. So the whole thing is a table. It's made up of 3 columns, and it's made up of 11 rows. We're only going to do a few of the rows, maybe the first 3 or so, just to give you an idea of how to do this. All right. Okay. So rank, advertiser, and spend. Let's create this table here. So first, you're going to need your element. What element, what HTML element would you guess creates a table? The table element. So we have our open table tag and our closed table tag. So together, those 2 tags make up our table element. And now we have a table heading to create. Table heading is, before that, we need to create a table row. So TR, open TR, and close TR. Together, they represent a table row. Alright, so this is one table row. We said there were 11 rows. So, I'm going to space this out a little bit. We're not going to create all 11. I said we're only going to create about the first 3. That's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. Expand this a little bit. Alright, so that is the extent to which we're going to create. So we're really going to only get through Chanel, Louis Vuitton, and this heading. Alright, so our table row has a table heading. So our first row, this right here represents our first row. I'm going to collapse it here. So I'm going to collapse these. You can click on the little arrows next to the numbers that collapse them. And work on the first one. So the first row has a table heading. So that would be TH. TH stands for table heading. Make sure you open and close right away. The first table heading is rank. Right? So in the first row, this is the first row. This is the first row here. We're focused on this portion right here. So that's the first heading. So that's our first TH. So that's rank. Now in this same row, so we're still in the same row, I'm going to dent a little bit more. We have another table heading. So TH, close TH, and we're going to put the next thing, which is advertiser, and then spend. So advertiser, and then we have one more heading to go. Copy and paste that. This one is spend. Right? So we have our 3 headings there in place. Now we're going to move on to the next row. So I'm going to collapse this to make room. See, we have so far our headings there, and this is our second row. So our second row, switch blue pen. Our second row would be this one. It has a 1 for the rank. It has LouisVuitton.com, and it has 1,316,000. So We're going to follow the same structure. This time though, it's not a heading, it's data. So the table data, open table data, close table data, the first thing is a 1 for first place. Our next place, our next table data or column. Every time you do a table data, you're pretty much adding or working with a new column. So this was Louis. I need to check how to spell this. Vuitton. Right? And then we have one more column, which is the third and final column in that row. Get this closer so I don't separate it too much. That was somewhere along the lines of 1,316,000. Alright, so far it's matching up. I'm going to collapse this. So notice the little arrow here next to the 9. Just shrinks it down so we aren't working with too much code at once. And now we're going to work on the last one. Right? And that is second place, Chanel, and 549,000. So I'm creating a table data. This is second place. Table data. Close the table data. Another TD. Close the TD. Alright. 549,000. Okay. So we have all our data there with our rows. Now we're going to do a revisit to some CSS, right? Very quickly here, and revisit CSS. We're going to give this table an ID. We're going to say that this is an ID of sales. I'm sorry, this is the amount that they spent on ads. Okay. So in our CSS, we need a hashtag because we're going to target the ads ID. Our curly brace because we're making our rule, and this is the declaration block. And now we write the actual rule that we want to control. So in this case, we want to set the border of this table. And let's just say we're going to set it to 2 pixels. Wait, give me 1 second. Yes, 2 pixels, and we're going to make it solid line, and it's going to be, let's just say, red. Okay? So now we have this border around the entire table. But what we're not getting is lines in between these other elements. If you recall, these other elements are table rows, and if you open this, THs and TDs. So let's say we want the borders to the THs and the TDs to be different, right? One way of doing that is we can say, okay, CSS, let's write our rule. We want to target all the THs and the TDs. Right, so if I expand this, for example, the TDs are the 1, the Louis Vuitton, and the 1 million, and so on, right? And there's some more TDs over here for the 2s. So we want all the THs and the TDs to have the following rule, which is going to be a different rule. We're going to say, we're going to want their border. Let me space this out a little bit so you can see their separate rules. The border is going to be 1 pixel. It's going to be dashed. And it's going to be black. And now those separate elements have a separate rule that the CSS is affecting. So this side we have our structure, and this side we have our styling, and at the end we have our table. If we wanted to keep adding rows, we just keep adding TRs. If we wanted to add more columns, right, we wanted a 4th column, we simply go into each one of these and make sure that we have another TH, another TD, and another TD over here for each one so that we have our 4th column.